And once this is installed, we will configure and install an instance of TA. Okay, so there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and create an instance here. And just want to point out a couple of things, new things here since the last time we have done one of these videos. The license properties are available here in the form, and there are 2 of them. So you have to, in the first instance, select the license type, and then you have to accept that license. So if you want information on the license types, you can click on this link. That will take you to our documentation, and it will give you a table containing all of the relevant licenses, and you can drill in on these and figure out which is the one that you want to install them. So I'm gonna, for this demo, I'm gonna select evaluation, and I'm gonna say yes, I accept it. The other interesting thing here that we've added to the form for installing the TA instance is the persistence configuration. So this is another area that we get a lot of questions on and support on, and I think just by nature of the fact that Kubernetes gives you so many different ways to configure persistence, it can be a bit intimidating. I did do a video a couple of months ago there, which I'll plug, and we'll include that link in the chat. And it describes in detail various different configurations that you can have with your TA persistence and how you would set the settings to achieve them. For this example, I'm going to set my access mode to read write once, which is going to match a persistent volume that I know exists on this cluster. And I'm pretty much done. If you've got storage classes on your cluster, which I don't in this case, they're all available here from the drop-down now, so you can simply click that, and if there are storage classes, you can see them there, and you can just select which storage class you want to use. And that is pretty much it. We click create, and that's going to go ahead and create that instance of Transformation Advisor.
Yeah, and I like that you pointed out the persistent volume is used, as I showed you in the beginning slides. TA has 3 containers, our UI, our server, and our database. So we do require persistence in order to be able to allow you to keep putting together more data than just the one transient version of collection that you have, and be able to then look at your entire enterprise as a whole and correlate and make architectural decisions across your whole enterprise. So it's definitely something that persistence is easier on a desktop because you've got your file system, but it's a required configuration setting in Openshift. And I'm glad that you showed all the options there for the license acceptance too, so that way folks can follow that and be sure that they can get the support that they require from the right product. As well, with respect to installing our Transformation Advisor, I know that we have been working on AirGap installation. It's been around in TA for a while, but we've made some improvements in that space, and I'm glad that you're able to talk to it and show that and demo that for us for today too.
Yeah, sure. So again, the AirGap it's something that can seem a bit maybe intimidating, but I think when you break it down and you go through step by step, it's not as bad as you might first think. We use the standard IBM container, the case packaging. It's the standard packaging format for all of IBM container software now. So we use that and the utilities around that in order to provide the AirGap support. And there are 3 sort of flavors of installation scenarios that we currently support. I guess we may expand these in future, depending on what we learn from our customers in terms of how well they meet their needs. There's a Bastion host, and this is like the Bastion host is it's a server that is very tightly controlled security-wise, but it does have access to the online image registry across the public network, and it also has access to the cluster that you want to do your install on. So what's going to happen there is on the Bastion host, we're going to pull down the images from the publicly accessible image registry, and then we're going to push them onto a mirror registry that our cluster is actually going to use to get its images. The other options are around portable compute. So you can grab the images somewhere onto your laptop, and then you can plug your laptop into the restricted network if that's allowed in your organization, and you can complete the install steps from there. And portable storage, so you can use an external storage device of some type, grab the images from the publicly accessible location, and then use your storage device inside your restricted network. Again, that's subject to whatever rules and compliance that your organization needs to deal with. What I was going to show you today was the Bastion host installation. Now, it does take, some of the steps can take a bit of time on this because you've got to pull the images. So that takes a bit of time, and then you've got to configure the cluster in a particular way, and it takes a bit of time for that configuration to apply. So I shot some videos for this, which I was going to go through. So again, what you're going to need to do is follow the instructions. The instructions go through a series of steps. And mostly for this video, you'll see I'm just copying and pasting stuff from our documentation and running the commands. And describe the prerequisites here for this Bastion host install. So you're going to need, number one, you're going to need a Docker registry that can act as your mirror registry. So this is the registry that's going to exist inside your restricted network and can be accessed by your cluster. So you need to have that standing up, and there's some requirements about the type of registry that needs to be. It needs to be a version 2 implementation of the API, and there are various other things like it needs to support multi-path images and multi-architecture images. There are some other, and we're probably getting tight in time, so there are other prerequisites which you can read through in the documentation. So for this example, I've stood up a registry that can act as my mirror registry here. I've just done a curl to the registry to see there are currently no repositories there because I haven't done any mirroring action yet. I'm logged into my server because I'm on my Bastion host, so I can access both the cluster and the outside world. I'm going to set up a project that I want to install into in Openshift. So I'm creating a project called TA. And I'll just pause on this one for a moment. I'm also just defining here a location to save our case package. So remember I said this AirGap install is using the case packages, which is the standard packaging for the IBM container software. And we use this cloud control client in order to pull down that case bundle and then later to run some various commands on that. So let me run that through. So at this point, I've just pulled down a particular version of TA, version 244. Let's pull down the tarball. Next, I am going to just extract the tarball so you can see the contents. So this contains all of the resources. So you can see lots of YAML files here. So it's going to contain all of the resources and all of the scripts that are needed to do the install in your restricted environment. Next step here, I'm just setting up some environment variables that describe where the entitled registry is, which is the location of the Transformation Advisor images, and the credentials to access that, and also where the mirror registry is that we're going to mirror those images to. And once they're set up, let's move this along a bit quicker here. Once they're set up, I'm going to run these two commands, which are configuring the authentication credentials to access both of those registries. And once that's done, let's go through here. Okay, there's a typo in there. Let's fix that. Okay, so once that's done, we kind of get to the meat of the installation, really. First big step where we're going to actually mirror the image. So you can see the action here we're running is mirroring images. I'm going to pull them from the publicly accessible registry and copy them into our mirror registry. And again, I'm just going to copy and paste the command directly from our documentation and paste that into my actual screen here and run that. And this is going to take a bit of time. Okay, so you'll see the output is showing you that it's copying the images layer by layer and inserting them into your mirror repository. The next step along the way, once that's complete, it'll take, like I said, it'll take a number of minutes. Eventually, that script will complete. And the next step is to configure your cluster to use the mirror. So the TA product internally, it's going to reference all its images by their location in the entitled registry. But we know that our cluster in this case, in the restricted network, is not going to be able to access that registry. So what we need to do is configure the cluster to say, if you try to get an image from a certain location, actually redirect to a different location. And that's what this next step, configuring the cluster, is about. This command, which wraps it up. But behind the scenes, what this is doing, if you're familiar with Kubernetes, is that it's creating an image content source policy. And you can see the output here. It's it's doing the redirection from the cp.icr.io to our mirror registry. And that configuration takes some time to apply, so it needs to drain all of each of the nodes. So if you do an OC get nodes there, you'll see the status of the nodes, and you'll see that the scheduling is going to be disabled for the nodes. It's going to cycle through all of those nodes. Eventually, when that gets completed, 3. We'll see all our nodes are ready, and at that point, we're ready to go ahead and do the actual installation. So again, step 7 here, I'm just going to copy and paste the command from our documentation. And just a note there, from this command, you can configure the TA instance in various different ways, in any way that you could do from the UI or from the YAML. You can pass various arguments to TA here, to the installation here, and they'll be passed down through into TA. For example, in this case, I've set persistence to false just for convenience. Definitely not recommended for a production install. So you run that, and it's going to run through. And first of all, it's going to install the catalog. Then it's going to install the operator, the TA operator from that catalog. It's going to wait till the operator becomes available, and then it's going to install the instance of TA. And again, this can take some time because it's pulling down the images. But eventually, after a number of retries, it's going to complete and give you your URL where you can access TA. I do appreciate that was a real whistle stop tour there.
It was. And I want to also, it kind of illustrates the difference between using it on your local desktop and in Openshift. The same can be done with TA local. It's I haven't done it with the entitled image registry, but pulling from Docker Hub, you can create your tarball and be able to do the same activity with TA local on your desktop. So I think this new installation in Openshift is pretty neat. And hopefully, I've included the videos that you had mentioned around persistence, and we'll look for the video around the AirGap installation as well, so that folks can take a look at that. We have a little bit more time, so it's no problem at all for us to go through in the next 10 minutes or so. The other major enhancements that we have included in transformation over this period of time. I know we've done some things definitely that have helped in terms of performance, both in the user interface as well as in the data collector, and some things for customization when you know your environment and you're able to customize things. So would you like to show us those enhancements too?
Yeah, sure. Shall we start with that branding one? It's kind of a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the capability to, I think, probably, well, I guess it's going to be useful to a lot of people, but maybe in particular business partners might like to add some customization to the landing page on TA. So what we're allowing you to do now is to add some text up here in the top left, and also to edit or change the images that are shown on this landing page. So I'll just show you how you do that configuration very quickly. So I've got oh dear. Got logged out, lovely. Okay, let's log back in here. So the way we do this is similar to the security config that we did earlier. We need to set some environment variables. I'm going to show you the TA local example. So in this case, I've got an image here called tv.png, and I want to display that on the TA landing page. So what you need to do is to base 64. So base 64 is going to be available, I think, on most OSs. Importantly, we do want to add the -W0 argument here to make sure that there isn't any line breaks inserted into our encoded image. So you do that and you get out this whole load of text. And then we need to pop that into our configuration file. So let me go to the configuration file. Again, we're going to be looking here at the .env file. And down at the bottom, got 4 or 5 different settings that are related to this. So there's custom title and custom landing icons. So the title text, I'll put something in here called for TV edition. And for the icon, I will grab this nicely prepared here. It's not big.
So I actually put in all that gobbledygook.
Yeah,
as our icon value.
Yes, you put in all that, and you need to add some metadata at the start, right? So you just say it's an image data : image / PNG, and that it's base 64 encoded. Again, you'll see this in the example in the documentation, and then following that, you put all of that encoded text.
And so that illustrates why we need the -W0, is otherwise we'd have all the line breaks in here. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And oops, what did I do? Okay, so I'll just save that file. Now you also need to, when you edit the .env, you also need to edit the .env _orig. So that's probably a bit of a clumsy mechanism that we might tackle at some point. But anytime you make a configuration change to the .env, you also need to make it in this other file. So I'm just going to do that now. Oops.
And while you're doing that, what are the 4 icons, or is there a significance to the 4?
Yeah, I can show you those in one moment. So there are actually 4 different icons that can appear on that landing page as you kind of go through the carousel on the landing page. And you can add a custom image for each of those.
Cool.
Okay, so once that's done, you just need to restart TA local using the launch script. So I'm just going to choose.
Yeah, sometimes that takes a little bit of time. So the
Wait, I can show you the carousel where the different images appear.
Okay.
So I'm just changing.
1, 2, 3, and 4 correspond to the four elements in the carousel.
Yes.
Gotcha.
That's what we're. Oh, okay. I was going to show something else, but
Our server's going. So
yeah.
that allows us to customize it for our enterprise or for our business partners who are using Transformation Advisor. And as I mentioned, I have been definitely thrilled with the performance enhancements that we've introduced in Transformation Advisor when we're loading up large zip files, when we're transitioning from one view to another, that we do have a whole lot better performance and optimization so that it makes that experience definitely a very pleasant one. Did you want to go over some of the other enhancements that
Yeah.
I guess we'll get there?
Yeah, a good one here actually I can show you is the data collector one. So okay, I'll go here again. Let me just redo this. So what we've added here is a new option to the data collector. So if you're familiar with running the data collector, you know the command usually looks something like this. You say Transformation Advisor, you point it to the WebSphere application server, and you use the -p to point to a particular profile. So what we've had for a while was an option called applications. And what that did was that would say, don't do all of the applications in this profile, only analyze whatever applications I list out here. So if you use this command, it would only analyze applications 1 and 2. But what we added, maybe 2 releases back now, we've added a skip applications. So this is like the allow list to the applications, or the block list to the applications allow list. So, and it works in a similar way. So you can tell it to skip the applications, and you can list the application names, or you can also provide a file which contains a number of applications if that's more convenient. In this case, I know there are 7 applications in this server, but I'm saying I want to skip these 3. So if I, going, I'm not in the right spot here. And run that again. So I'm expecting to see only 4 applications being analyzed here.
And so that gives us a little bit of flexibility. If we know we have this one huge mega application that we're not interested in the results, and we know it'll take a lot of time, we can narrow down to everything else, or we can do the opposite where we specify we just want that one. So we've got 2 options there. Yep.
Yeah, we don't need to wait for this to run here, I guess, but we can see that 4 applications are being analyzed here. So
instead of the 7.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I guess TA should be back and running. Okay, so hopefully if I refresh my customized TA landing page here, should see those changes have taken effect. Okay, and if my spelling was better, we would have
we can tell it's a live demo.
We've got Expert TV Edition, and we've got our image here, and you can do the other images in a similar way.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so a couple of other things. Oh, so the progress indicator, I think that's a nice one. So particularly for large data collections, well, actually, like Dana's mentioned, we have done some performance improvements as well, but still for larger collections, the process of generating the recommendations in TA can take a couple of minutes. So we've added just a progress indicator for that, so you're not wondering what's happening. This file isn't so big, but it should be big enough to let us see the progress indicator. So it's going to, first of all, upload the file, and then TA is going to do its thing on the server and generate the recommendations. And that's the piece that we're going to track the progress of and give you updates on. So here we go. You can see the recommendation generation is cycling through, and then it's complete.
Excellent. And then we have made optimizations. If you move away from that view and you go back to another one, it's very quick and responsive. So very cool. And I know that we've done some other things around just making this easy. One of the things when we upload a zip file is sometimes the significance of it isn't clear to us until we've already seen the results, and we have mechanisms for renaming that are available to us, that then if you want to rename your collection so that you remember, oh, it came from this place, or this is the one that Kieran's responsible for, you have an opportunity to do that both at the workspace and the collection. So if you go into the views that show your workspace, then you can modify the collection names there, and you can also modify your workspace names. So those are definitely helpful for helping you organize your information. Let's see. I'm looking through our list of things, and one of the things that's really exciting to me is that as a mechanism of improving how we can do insights, a lot of the things that we're doing with respect to providing analysis is that there's been some work done both in the WebSphere environment as well as in our analysis of it. And one of the things that I know we've been working on is being able to accurately tell you how much work it is meant to be done or required to be done. And a lot of our detection is now being wonderfully improved. One of the areas is around this JAX RPC rules, and I wonder if you could tell us about that one.
Yeah, sure. Let me just go back to a different workspace here. Look at that stuff that's here. Okay. Yeah, so this one is, I think it came up a few times multiple times from different customers. Find my data. Yeah, and the problem with this this particular one is the JAX RPC implementation in many cases was coming from a dependency that was packaged with the application. So the Apache Access implementation was already packaged with the application. But when we did the analysis, we didn't understand that, or we didn't reveal that to you. So in actual fact, there isn't any work to do because you've already got that implementation. You're not depending on a server provided implementation for JAX RPC. So let me find the issue. So it's an issue like this, right? So Java API. So normally, or previously, this would have shown a number of days or whatever the effort was to resolve it, but now we're detecting the fact that you're already packaging the implementation for this JAX RPC with your application, so you actually don't need to do any work in this case.
I like that one, and that would mean across your enterprise, we might detect that you are dependent upon JAX RPC, and in some applications, you're going to have to include that implementation or it's an option for you. And in others, your application is fine, and so your developer, the issue is still there, and we draw it to your attention, but the development effort is different between the two because of that packaging. Nice. All right, this has been wonderful. Thank you, Kieran, for all of your effort in getting all those environments up so that we could demonstrate across all of them. And I appreciate your work, and for anyone who is attending and for folks watching the recording of this, thank you so much for your attention. We do appreciate that and look forward to your feedback. So please do give us feedback on subjects that are particularly of interest to you for future sessions. We do have some lined up through the summer. We have changed our pace a little bit because of the summer that we've been a little bit less frequent, but we're looking to get back up as the fall goes, and we will be looking forward to seeing you there. Please do take a look at our previous episodes if they're of interest to you, and hopefully we'll see you again. Thank you so much. Thanks, Kieran. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.